can we talk about Labour in all of this? You know, a good night in many respects, a good day, but perhaps not as good as it should have been.
Yes, Labour did very well in London, winning, some of those key councils that were held by Conservatives, like Westminster and Wandsworth. And they've also done well in the South, winning, for instance, Southampton. But they failed to do as well in some places that they would have hoped to in the Midlands and the North, those former Red Wall seats, But I think Sir Keir Starmer, has gained some ground, from the disaster that was the 2019 general election. And there's also been some success with Labour kind of solidifying its base in Wales and also in Scotland.
There was some analysis yesterday, I think it was John Curtis, the big pollster guy, saying that outside of London, Keir Starmer's performance was worse than the last performance by Jeremy Corbyn in terms of local elections.
And I think what's also interesting is that Keir Starmer, was quite in a celebration mood before, the news around Durham Constabulary announcing that criminal investigation, is that, this is a turning point for the Labour Party, and it shows that, we're a government in waiting, and that the election, is right in front of us. But I think what's seen with the projections, and I think sometimes it can be a little bit discourteous to look into projections, on a national level compared to local elections, but it doesn't seem that Labour, have that wide appeal, to get a majority, to be a government at this moment of time. If they were to, they would have to be in coalition potentially with Liberal Democrats, who had a very good, set of local election results as well.
Yeah, well, they're very well known for being very good at local elections, aren't they? Yeah. But Boris, though, as you might expect, came out fighting, first of all, saying, well, it's midterms. Yes, we had a tough night, but it's midterms. You would expect us to be kicked. But are they going to take any notice of the fact that they really have been kicked and that people... And time and again, everyone was saying on the doorstep the things that are mattering to people, mostly cost of living. So are they going to take any notice and do something? Because otherwise they will not do very well in another general election.
I think that's absolutely right, Anne. I think interpreting local elections, more, hyper-local issues around, council tax or bin collections. But the big issue that's been coming up on the doorstep has been the cost of living crisis, which the government will have to kind of react from that and come up with new proposals. But having spoken to several, Tory candidates as well, that had been canvassing all week, Boris was also coming up on the doorstep quite a lot. So while, Tory MPs might be thinking that now is not the right time for a leadership bid, I think having looked at these results, Downing Street, it does have to take notice and think of, well, how exactly are we going to kind of react from this come the next general election? Which
is interesting. I mean, I know a lot of people watching are very supportive of the Prime Minister and don't want all this Partygate thing to be looked at further. Some do. But, of course, now we're in a situation where there is an open investigation into Beergate. So you've got both the Conservative Party, where the Prime Minister has been found to have done something wrong, and the Labour Party, where it's looking like the police are suspicious that something has been done wrong.
I know, it doesn't look very good on our national politics, that's for sure. The thing with this is that Starmer, the Labour leader, has just put himself in a pigeonhole over this matter. At the time when the Metropolitan Police announced that criminal investigation, into the Partygate scandal, Keir Starmer, members of the shadow cabinet, were calling for Boris Johnson to do the right thing, the noble thing, and resign. And now this investigation is happening. There's a very good chance that Starmer himself would also receive a fixed penalty notice, because if you've been looking, the excuses they've been making, Keir Starmer particularly, is that I believe that all rules, all guidance was followed at the time, and that Starmer, especially, over having that beer and curry at Mary Foy's constituency office in Durham, saying, well, I was working and I only popped in for a few minutes to just get a bite to eat. Well, that was the same excuse Boris made when he got his penalty with that surprise birthday cake that he received, back in June of 2020.
So, Keir Starmer was ambushed by a beer.
Ambushed, yes. Yeah. I wonder if we will hear that anytime soon.
We might.
I mean, it's going to get silly. It's going to be, well, I'm not going to resign unless he resigns. Well, I'm not going to resign unless he resigns.
But think about this hypothetically. Imagine if Starmer did do the noble thing and he did resign, that would almost force Boris Johnson to resign himself because of the
Except that it wouldn't, would it?
Except
well,
it wouldn't. Well, we don't know, so we'll have to wait until what the inquiry has to say.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.